Okay, welcome back. What we are going to be doing today is just a real simple little trick that's really cool. We're going to be adding a nice background image in Photoshop to our static web page layout. Why we do this? Well, right now what's going on is more of a transition in the technology sector of computers and stuff. So what you have is you have to, when you're designing a website, you have to design for the lowest common denominator. Slower service, slower computers, and smaller monitor sizes. So you're going to find that the actual physical size of a website is still going to be about 800 by 600. But you're going to have all this extra space to play with when you put that onto a high resolution, wide format letterbox monitor. So in order to kind of make things nice and to frame up your website and also have some cool stuff in the background and that complements your work, what you usually do is, or a nice trick, is to throw in a background. Now the background I've got is this guy right here. You could leave it like that. It's kind of naked, not really pretty. Choosing a background like a photographic background is really nice because it tends to lend a lot of credibility and further reinforces all the stuff inside your website. So for example, this is for Confederation College. You can see actually in here the flash little movie that plays through is of a similar view. You've got the sleeping giant right in here, and then you've got houses and stuff. If I was to turn off this thing, you've almost got the same view. This is a free image I found online. The quality isn't that good. I'd suggest finding better quality or take the picture yourself. Anyway, it further reinforces what's going on in the website itself. If this was about food, then I would probably make it about food, or maybe the location of where it is, or mountains if it's about horseback riding or whatever. You get the idea. So whatever. So what we're going to do here is we're going to make this background, and we're going to do a gradient on this background in order to reinforce and all the colors used throughout this website. So now we got these guys set up. We've got everything kind of centered where we want it. Real simple step. I think it's actually 3 steps. Step 1. Get your pen tool and draw yourself a shape layer. Throw that right over top of everything. Super cool. Now you can do it 2 ways. You can add a mask to the shape layer, or you can add a mask to the background. I prefer to add a mask to actually well, we can do it either way. Let's just do the shape layer for right now. So we can add a mask to the shape layer. I'm going to go down here to my little gradient mask, click on that guy, make sure it's selected, hit G for gradient, and then I'm going to pretty much kind of drag it down like so. There we go. That's all you got to do. So that's step 1. Step 2, choose the color. So you want to go into here to your little thumbnail guy here, double click on it, and you can pick any color you want. And this is the nice thing from using the shape layers, because it's going to give you a preview of what the color looks like instantaneously. You can also sample from any of these colors in through here. So that way you get a nice effect. It complements all the images and layout. You can sample from the purple, a little too strong. You can pull from the colors inside the actual website itself. Whatever. Let's kind of compromise here. Let's pull from that nice green color right there. You can kind of do that, so you can go OK. So you can leave it at that. And then of course your content, right, for your actual page here could run down in through, and that way you're ensuring some legibility. So you could have like transparency down in here with text and more content, or this could just refresh itself. This whole little section here could just refresh with different content coming in. The nav bars of course would all stay the same. This content through here changes. So there's one thing you can do. So that's actually possibly a 2-step process. One other thing you can do if you want to further this and kind of make it look a bit cool is add some fake depth of field. So if I was to go in and actually duplicate that background, and I'm going to go in here and I'm going to give this upper background a blur. I'm going to go here and I'm going to do Gaussian blur. So now we've got this blurred kind of effect here, and depending on how much blur you want, that's totally your call. So I'm going to kind of 7.6 at that. Then I'm going to go in here. I'm going to add a layer mask. I'm going to go back up here, make sure my layer mask is selected. Go back over to the gradient tool, make sure that's all selected. And then I'm going to, what I want to do is I want to have everything in the background, like the sleeping giant, this the water in focus. I want to have everything in the foreground out of focus. So I'm just going to blur the two together. And Shazam, I did it backwards. So let's go down this way. There we go. So what's happening is you kind of get a nice kind of blurred effect here. And this isn't an actual it's not a very realistic depth of field blur, but it's a nice quick trick to get the job done, and also to kind of blur. Why does that always happen? To actually always blur all that stuff out and just gonna give a general sense of you know, it drives focus down the page because it's easier to start reading stuff down here. If you were to put text over top of any of this stuff through here, it would be very hard to read. So you want to end up with a nice, easy to read content down here, a nice interesting picture, visual information up here. And also keep in mind, hold true to the crop theory. You want things to be consistent, you want things to align properly, you want things to repeat through color, through shape, and you want things to have visual proximity to one another. So if things have visual proximity, you're going to create a visual group. So possibly what I might do is take all these guys here, and we'll select them all. I'm going to group them. And then I may actually want to do a quick free transform and just line up. I'm going to draw a ruler down here because I want to make sure everything is in line. Right now I've got this kind of, I think it's a breakwater running right across here. I want to make sure that's actually, you know, pretty darn straight. So I'm just going to go in here and straighten it up a bit and just tweak it. Okay, there we go. So maybe I may actually want to move this down a bit. You see, I don't have a lot to play with here, so I may want to move it up. I may want to actually move it down. Well, that's kind of nice, like so. And actually, this breakwater here is kind of giving me a little bit of hassle because it's giving some visual tension on each sides here. So you may have to go in and like tweak stuff. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to my background. I'm just going to clone this guy out. I'm going to zoom in, and cloning waves and that kind of stuff, it's really easy to do. I'm going to source click, go down here, and just kind of slowly, and I'm doing this rather quickly. You know, I might actually spend a lot more time on it. I would spend a lot more time on it if it wasn't a demo, if it was a paying customer. So there you go. So that's a quickie. And you see how it's sort of blended in there. I might actually want to go in and maybe get a bigger brush and reduce my opacity a little bit, and then go back and source click somewhere over here, and then kind of slowly blend it in just a little bit more. Go back over to this side and slowly blend it in. There we go. Okay, so now we got rid of that breakwater, that visual line, and you see it's a bit more open. You lets your eye flow down into each corner, down and around and through. So you got some nice visual flow going on there. So that's it, guys. And ooh, what do we have here? Yes, and when you move stuff around, make sure that you move everything. See, this guy wasn't moved. I'm going to bring this guy down, bring him up. And I'm going to move this guy around. There we go. I'm just going to scale this guy. Yeah, when you're moving everything around, as I just proved, make sure you move your layer masks and everything, or you're going to get some little hiccups like I had running through here. So the gradient wasn't exactly dragged all the way down the bottom. So that's it, finally. It's a super cool trick, and it's real easy to do, and it really gives you a big boost for the design and the depth of your website. Okay, thanks guys, and see you later. Bye.